jeez.
Oh, big time.
My eyes are killing me. Okay, we are ready to start, and welcome to the May 15th Merrimack Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. I am Laura Janes, Chair at the moment, and we are meeting in the Matthew Thornton Room this evening, for those of you at home. I've introduced myself. To my left is the co-chair. Go ahead.
I am Christine Lavoie, co-chair.
Matt Kasparius, Director of Parks and Recreation.
I'm Rick Greenier. I'm representing Merrimack Youth Association.
Yep, I'm just support. I am the Life Scout mom, Melissa Miller.
Nice job.
My name is Max Townsend. I'm Life Scout, presenting my idea.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt.
Michelle Creswell, member and secretary.
It was on. Maureen Hall, senior representative.
Abigail Cody, student representative.
Tracy McGraw, member. Julie Poole, committee member.
Corey Davenport, member.
And it does my heart good to see all these people here.
Isn't it? It's awesome.
We've had years where we don't have quorums, but it's thanks to Matthew. So we need to check over the April minutes if you've had a chance to look at them. And any discussion or motion to accept the minutes from April? We did get information too that Peter Albert is no longer representing the town council on this board, but Mr. Woods will be coming from now on. So that was a change.
You want me to make a motion?
Sure. Do I have a motion?
Sure.
You got the motion, or she?
Didn't show me with us.
Right, we're
Absolutely.
rotating about. All right, I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as written.
I'll second.
Thank you. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Hold them high.
Hold them aye. So we had 7 that were here and 2 abstaining,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Correct.
No negatives, 702.
Right.
Thank you. Perfect. Well, thank you for coming, Max Townsend. You are next on the agenda, and I welcome you and appreciate all you're going to be doing tonight. So thank you for joining us. And we're just a bunch of people that try to do the right thing.
Far left switch down.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Corey.
Okay. So, sorry, I prefer to stand up. But, so my name is Max Townsend. Currently, I'm the Life Scout, and I am I'm working on my Eagle Scout project. So this was just to propose my idea to you guys. So for my idea, what I'd like to do is in Wasserman Park, there's a wall ball court, but it is old. The wood is getting kind of gross, and
Good idea.
it just doesn't look as good as it could. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to redo the wall ball court and to tape down or paint some lines for a pickleball court because it meets the dimensions of pickleball.
Perfect. Great.
Oh yeah, and then I'll also, for pickleball, I'll have a wheelable net so that when people would like to play pickleball, they can just move the net over and play, and then when they'd like wall ball, they can just move it away.
Perfect.
Sounds awesome.
For the second part of my idea, I would also like to put a split rail fence behind one area. I think it measured about 200-ish feet behind the playground area, so the playground and baseball field area.
Okay.
Because behind that area is like not so friendly, and potentially dangerous with thorn bushes. And then it also has a drop off leading to rocks.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah, and there was a fence there, but it got torn down at one
Great.
point.
Perfect. Nice.
Fell down more likely.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a little hard to see, but there is the current state of the wall court, where the first or the top layer of the plywood that was there has
Been
fallen
there a
down.
while.
And so yeah, what I was planning to do is use the metal poles that are still there,
Sure,
because those are good,
sure.
to use them, and I was gonna build a whole new wooden wall there
Okay.
and paint it.
Awesome. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, great.
And then there's
Oh, there you go, yeah.
some of the stretches that I would be doing the fence along.
Perfect.
In the first picture on the left, past the bleachers a little,
Right.
there is a trail, which that's where my stopping point's gonna be.
Okay.
So it's gonna go all the way from the side of the playground to that trail that leads down. And then right behind here is where it drops off into
Right.
rocks.
Right.
And then this is my budget. I did round some numbers up because it's better to be more safe than sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so that's my budget estimate.
Great.
And then any questions?
Just remind me, is that pickleball area surrounded by chain link already at all?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Well, there's like,
Partial?
there's net
Oh, that,
fencing on one
oh,
side.
yeah,
but even that's
okay.
kind of
Will
worn
that
down.
stay, or what do you envision that surrounding?
At this point, it'll probably stay. Maybe
Okay,
someday
yeah,
in the
yeah,
future
yeah.
we'll clean it up more, but
Okay.
yeah.
It looks like if we take out like the leaves, like there's a lot of leaf stuff in there. And
Yeah.
cut down some of, like, it needs some pruning and
Yeah,
Yeah.
love
yeah,
there
yeah.
but it looks like it's okay shape.
Oh, good.
Just a quick question, I'm sorry, Tracy. Where is Troop 48 from?
We're in Merrimack. It's actually
Okay.
for our church, which is in Nashua, but we are based in Merrimack.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Do you expect some help on this project with teammates and
Yes.
other Life Scouts?
Yeah, so recently, at Greater Woods behind the
Yeah.
Merrimack Middle School,
Sure.
one of my troop members, he did the outdoor classroom back there.
Oh, nice.
And, what did Kristen? And then, also in Greater Woods, up the trail, another person did, some
Great.
benches.
Great.
The benches look great. I've
Yeah.
walked by them a couple times.
Yep.
Oh, good. Nice job.
And we have another comment here or a question? Tracy?
What were your thoughts on as far as fundraising? Because it looked like it was about $1,600.
Yeah,
So what are you thinking?
We're still brainstorming on that as far as exactly what we're gonna do. But I'd like to meet with someone from the town to go over like maybe like a 4th of July event, or something that I could do at the 4th of July. I will have a for sure fundraising idea before I meet with the town council though.
And just as a quick follow-up, and then, sorry, Rick. Just as a quick follow-up, I do have a little information, and I know you're gonna be gone by the time we finish our meeting, so I'm gonna say it now. The 4th of July, I think, is still being pretty much run by the Merrimack Rotary.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's gonna be in the actual parking lot of the high school this year as opposed to in the grass like they did last year. But one of the things that they did, and the reason I know this is because I go there and I get money for it, is if you have an organization and you bring people to help them out, then there's a percentage of whatever they get in for tickets and stuff for the various rides that they share amongst the people that show. It may not be a lot, but it's something, and it also is kind of team building.
Okay.
Great, good idea. Yes, Rick, another,
Max, I wonder if you were planning on using pressure-treated plywood and lumber?
Yeah, that was part of our plan. So we were gonna have a total of 9. I believe it was 4x8 pressure treated plywood for the actual wall that would be facing for the wall ball, and then we were going to connect all of the joints or all the breaks in the plywood with 2x4s to make sure that it's sturdy.
Solid. Excellent, thank you.
Wow, sounds
Great.
awesome.
great.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Well, you've done a fine job, and this is the process,
Mhm.
because we are the first advisory. But certainly working with Matt he's got a lot of resources too.
He'll guide you along the way,
Guide
which
you
is
along the
nice.
way.
Exactly.
What's the next step then, Matt?
Need a motion.
The motion to recommend that Max go forward to the town council. I think it's a great idea personally. Any other comments before we take a vote, or?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Tracy.
I'll second.
Yep.
Great
and
job.
Thank you very much for coming. All those in favor of Max pursuing the wall ball, pickleball,
In the fence.
and the fence, and fundraising, and all that goes with it.
Thank you.
Nice job, nice,
But we're very
nice
excited
presentation.
for you
Yeah.
too, so
Thanks,
thank you.
I will be in touch with you probably tomorrow, and I'll connect on when to get you on the council's agenda, and I'm also gonna send you, which I thought I'd done it already, but apparently I didn't, but, just like a park map, so you can kind of draw it and where it is in the park, and.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you have
that might
kind
help,
of
yeah.
Visual, so when you go to the council, they can see it too, because they won't
Yes, this
necessarily.
is very preliminary.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
okay.
this is very preliminary, and they're gonna ask more questions. So welcome to the club. What year are you in school, Max, if I might ask?
6th or 8th grade.
8th grade, yeah. Good, well, thank you very much. This is
Growing up
inspiring.
fast, right?
Inspiring for me. Great. Any other questions, comments? So if you'd like to stay with us, you're welcome to. We have,
But otherwise you're gonna.
otherwise, you're free to go. Good job. You didn't faint.
Good job.
Thank you very much for coming. You inspire the other kids, I'm sure.
Absolutely, nice job.
You're doing all right.
So,
Yes, dear.
so we're making the motion to have both projects brought forward
Yes.
to town
Correct.
council? Thank you.
Sorry, yeah. It's-
And he's doing 2 areas because he wasn't sure that the Eagle Board would review, consider
Oh,
one
it's all-
project big enough on its own merits.
Right, so he's
it's
gonna,
kind of
Oh.
It's 2 components as part
Okay.
of one project.
Right.
Gotcha.
because he didn't have any pricing on the fencing yet, right?
No, I think that was.
Was it in there? Was it on there? Okay, okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Mrs.
Abby and
Hall.
I don't know what pickleball is.
Well, that's a good question.
Well,
Should I-
she's young and I'm old, so what?
I'll take a crack at it.
Please,
So it's the #1 growing sport,
yes,
In
for all
America.
ages.
and it's a smaller version of tennis, or a smaller boundary, played usually with a wooden paddle and a plastic wiffle-type ball. Like cricket? No,
No,
like tennis.
but it's not a team, it's
And it's
just,
very popular in Florida with the older population because there's less movement associated, less ground to cover than there is in tennis.
Didn't know.
Oh,
So it's like
interesting.
Life-size version of table tennis almost,
Yeah.
Almost like full
so,
size.
so it's not like a big team, it's just 1 or 2 people playing together, right?
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
It's not a ping pong ball, it's
So-
You can have up to,
like 4.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you play it off the wall.
No, it's
No.
not.
No?
We're playing it like normal tennis. over
Oh, see?
We just didn't want to get rid of, we have the wall ball there, which does
Exactly.
get
Okay,
used.
that's
Wall
wall
ball
ball.
is for when you want to basically practice by yourself.
Correct, okay, thank you. Now I had that backwards.
So it's multi-use function of the
Cor-
space.
Absolutely,
Gotta love multi-use.
with some
Love
hopscotch
multi.
on it.
Yeah. We could put hopscotch on it.
That's why they got the rolling,
Yeah,
net.
yeah,
we were talking
gotcha,
about, so-
gotcha. For pickleball.
So I was lucky enough to teach this year. In fact, I taught it to your sister, Abby. And I learned that
Sorry.
online, for what that's worth, that Pickles was the name of the family's dog that invented the sport.
Oh, that's a why.
And they were about to try to play badminton in the backyard, but couldn't find their badminton rackets. However, they did have ping pong paddles
There you go.
and a wiffle ball. So they, and I believe it was the Washington State area where this first originated.
That's awesome.
Back to the
Kind of
old-
Great story,
back
yeah.
to the old improvement.
I figured they were using pickles ball.
Right? Yeah, that would work too,
Probably
right?
really what it was.
There we go. All right, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, do we want lights back on or Corey, you're up. Literally.
I knew I
Oh,
sat
thank
here for a
you.
reason.
See?
See?
I knew she sat here for a reason. Okay, old business, how we doing with the survey results, please? In gold.
Survey results have not changed much since
No,
last
I didn't think
month.
they
We've
would.
only had about 35 new responses at this point.
Right.
We haven't done a lot of promotion of the survey at this point, just because we're tied up with other things, but those few results that we have gotten haven't really changed the results
Okay.
that we've seen already at this
Right.
point. You know, we need another, 100 people to say something different to change
Correct,
the results
correct.
at this point.
Right.
What we did see, obviously, which we talked about last month, is obviously people want us to focus on fields again. And so my thought is, I have a couple of thoughts. One is that maybe we have a kind of offline working group, kind of separate, trying to meet sometime in the next month or two. Myself, the schools, MYA, and everybody else, whoever is interested, to kind of sit back and kind of go back to where we were a couple of years ago when we last talked about this, see what things have changed. Now, one of my initial thoughts, and I think I've mentioned this idea in the past, but Wasserman Park, for example, let me back up for a second. Before, we know we don't necessarily have new field space right now. We need it, we need to keep looking for it, but maybe there's some other smaller things that we can do in the meantime that might help some things. So at Wasserman Park, I keep kind of looking at the space that football practices on the back of the field. I haven't formally measured it yet, but I'm reasonably confident it's pretty close to a full-size soccer field.
I would agree with you.
And there's even some room to expand potentially into the woods if we needed to get it, if it wasn't. But turn that into a formal field, but in order to do that, we'd have to find a place to put football. Football's the only one that uses that space. The camp doesn't even use it, and they just beat it up, because that's what football does. And by the end of the fall, there's no grass there, it's all dirt, because that's what happens with football. So if we could find a less valuable space that football could go to, or a couple of spaces that football could potentially go to, then we could turn that into football, which would solve some of the other problem, but, so it's one of those kind of outside of the box kind of conversations. We have to kind of brainstorm and see what might be possible. So that was one. Twardowski Field, one of the challenges over there is obviously parking. We have just completed, I don't know if any of you have been by there yet, we just put up the new safety netting along the third base line of the softball field. So now people can actually park along the field instead of on the other side of the parking lot. So that should help some. But I want to look at that some more. Could you, right now it's a one-way, same way in and out. There's some grassy space there.
Yep.
Maybe you could expand
Expand it a little
somewhat a little bit, or maybe it's a one way in, one way out to create some, I'm not sure. There's a plaque in there in that grassy space, so we got to look at that, but that might be some options. But that's kind of, I went in there. I was here a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday.
Yep.
And with just softball going on, and it was tight getting in there, so that's an idea. And then, back when we last talked about fields, when Mike Thompson was our rep from the school board, we were starting to talk about or he was starting to talk about that kind of Babusick Lakes Road site there that the school owns. And then he left, and that just kind of fell, so I have no idea where that is.
Thank you.
There's not a lot of viable space, and the other thing that was a concern is the ingress and egress.
Yeah, I know that.
So those were things that I think that I would call unofficially vetted.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's usable space. Based on the preliminary understanding we have.
Okay. And I'm not sure, like I said, we were kind of starting to have that conversation, and he was going back to the school board to ask questions and whatever, and then shortly thereafter, he left, and we never kind of got a resolution of where things stood, so.
Gotcha.
But again, are there other things like that that we
Right.
can do in the short term, while we kind of continue looking at the bigger picture, that might ease some of our crunches? And so that's kind of my suggestion. I don't know what other people think about that in terms of kind of fields and field improvements in general. But those are kind of the ones that have come into my head as I'm looking around.
Food for thought.
Right.
This one.
Well, I know when most of the fields don't have lights, would it benefit to get lights, and then older kids can play later in the evening and younger kids when it's light? That might extend the fields? No? Yes?
Yes, but I will caveat that with saying lights are expensive.
Well, so are fields, because we
Well, they
don't
are,
have
but,
any.
And I'll give you just an example. We've had, Martell Field, which is the softball field, we've had issues with those light towers 3 years in a row. One bank breaks, and then, we fix it all, and it's a couple $1,000s to fix it, and then the next year the different light tower breaks, and the lights at Martell Field aren't even tall enough. They're only 40 feet, and they're supposed to be 60 for softball.
Oh, no kidding.
But they were put in, 20 plus years ago.
Right.
But they're starting to fail. And so we had a lighting company come out just to give us an idea of what it would do to fix it, and $275,000
Wow.
for that softball diamond. So, and again, maybe that is the way to go.
Can't find fields.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, turf has the same benefit, obviously, and that's a different side of that conversation. But that's 1.4 million.
1.2, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's 200?
What's 200,000?
Amongst friends, I'm
But,
sure.
Right.
but,
Let me write a check.
but again, I think that's the start of that conversation that we need to have again. And kind of my overarching thought process is, if we can meet, a couple of times between now and maybe even going into the summer, so that by the time we get into September and October and we're starting to talk about the budget, we have an idea. Okay, we can do X, Y, and Z if we can get $300,000 or whatever it is. And, get it into the CIP and
As a field needs.
maybe it's something. There is
Right.
a athletic fields
Yeah,
capital reserve fund which
yeah.
has some money. I'm not sure I have that.
And there
I
were,
don't have it with me, but
there have been many ideas over time.
Exactly.
but starting to just move ahead, so we're not
Okay.
just spinning our wheels.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Matt, do you? I haven't been to any of these fields. Do you guys do partnerships with any businesses in town, sponsoring fields, sponsoring?
Yeah,
Sorta-
the MYA does.
Okay.
We're very fortunate to have two large corporations that allow us to use their premises.
Okay.
And sponsorship has been a tricky issue, because most sponsors want signage, and there are some rules prohibiting that, I believe, in town.
Gotcha.
So it's made it tougher for at least MYA to
Okay.
find sponsorship.
Okay.
Matt, if we can, I was going to wait till I spoke, but since we're on this field thing,
Yeah.
we have begun the process of exploring this too at MYA.
Yeah.
We've also begun a capital reserve fund. We're not sure what we're going to be able to put toward that. And of course, we'd be happy to sit down when we get this subcommittee together.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, we're on to the dog park update, please, Miss Christine.
Okay, well. Thank you. Well, right now, I think the next step for us is we're prepping the top part of the dog park in preparation for the mulch delivery. And currently, we have a balance of $2,896.59 as of 5/6.
Awesome.
That's really...
Any other fundraisers? Yeah.
No current fundraisers. The committee is scheduled to meet soon. Everybody's got busy schedules, so we're just working on trying to get a date and get that coordinated right now.
It's a very busy time of year for a lot of people, but if anybody out there would like to help with fields, we
Yep.
could use some new ideas and
Exactly.
sponsorships and.
Sure.
Okay, here you go.
All right,
The
back to
exciting news.
So pleased, obviously, to report that we have hired James Golisano as our new program coordinator. He started Monday. I think I reported last month that we had 92 applicants for his position. We interviewed 10, and so of course I was by myself for about 3.5 weeks from when Kirsten left. So glad that he started on Monday. So we're just trying to get him up to speed quickly before camp starts in 5.5 weeks.
You'll do
He
fine.
he obviously wasn't able to be here tonight, but he'll come at some point in the future. Master's degree in education, a significant number of kind of management experience. He was a lifeguard at one point. He actually held a similar role for Joffrey Parks and Rec for
Oh,
about 4
all right.
years. So he's got some experience. So should be good. And like I said, right now we're just getting up to speed this week, but
Oh, of course.
he'll be great. Moving
Well,
on-
good job.
Moving on to Watson Park. Work will be starting soon on building of the 3 new beach volleyball courts. The courts are going to be, we're just waiting for, right now, for the net systems to come in, and these are, commercial grade beach volleyball nets that we bought, not just, Walmart or, whatever. So as soon as they come in, Public Works will be starting to
Excellent.
build those courts. The beach volleyball courts are going to be in that back left corner of Watson Park.
Good.
Going back 10 years, if you think about where the dog park was originally sited for,
Yeah.
that's where the beach volleyball is going to be. The idea is then at the end of the fall, the net system will come out and the rink will go on top of the sand. for
Oh,
the
perfect,
volleyball.
perfect. Double
so
use.
the rink will be more in that corner compared to where it was this year. So that's starting soon and should be good.
Great.
I'd say, next month probably, hopefully. We had our community cleanup day a couple of weeks ago. Our original date of the 20th got rained out, and then a week later, we still got rain. Not as bad, so we still held it, and we ended up with 14 groups that showed up today. I have about 100 volunteers.
Nice.
Wasn't,
Well,
you
that's
know,
fine.
wasn't as big as we had hoped for, but we'll take it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
They cleaned up 12 sites on a very cold and rainy Saturday, so we were very appreciative
the courts.
of their support.
Absolutely, that's wonderful.
Moving on to special events, because summer's almost here. So coming up in just about a month, our summer concert series starts. And I'll pass, we have our brought flyers tonight, so you can see.
And we all got the email, and it's beautifully laid out. You did it all. It's awesome.
So we've got 10 concerts on the lineup for this year.
Nice.
So we start June 19th and we're there every Wednesday. It's kind of nice that the July 3rd concert with the Concert Association happens to be a Wednesday, because when
Good.
it's not, it's just awkward. But right through the end of August.
you won't forget.
Let's hope for good weather and all that. But,
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a good lineup. I think we've put together a good lineup this year.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And for those at home, that is 6 o'clock. Starts at 6 o'clock here at Abbey Griffin Park, right behind Town Hall. We also have in July and August this summer 3 movie nights in the park. The first one's going to be July 5th, because I'm glutton for punishment on 4th of July week. But we wanted to tie it into 4th of July a little bit, and so we're doing Friday night, July 5th. We're going to be showing Wreck-It Ralph 2, which will start at 8:30. We have to wait, obviously, until it gets dark enough to show it on the screen. Some people question that sometimes. It was like, oh, but we have to wait for it to start.
this
The event,
looks
that
awesome.
particular movie is going to be sponsored by the Lions Club,
Right.
who is going to be bringing some games. And right now the plan is, I think we're still kind of finalizing details, but they're going to give away hot dogs.
Yeah,
at
I
the
see
event.
free
So,
hot dogs.
Free hot dogs.
I'm in,
So,
I'm in.
and turn it into an event, because when
Sure.
we have food, there more people show up.
Sure. Exactly.
I do.
You do, okay.
Yeah,
We haven't needed a second one, I do have one.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
It's funny. We used to hire a company out to come in with the sound and the screen and the projection system. And 2 years ago, we we had one of our movies get rained out, and now it was costing us, it was like $550 for them to come in. And we ended up having to get a rain out. And they're like, well, you didn't buy rain insurance, which was another $300.
Oh,
so
jeez Louise.
you're kind of out of luck if you know. And so we ended up doing the movie with like 8 people in attendance because it was cold and rainy, and you know, they wouldn't let us switch. And so I was like, $550. I wonder, you know, it's like I've got 2 sets of sound systems at the park anyway that we use for our events, and I've got a projector.
There
How
you
much
go,
does the screen
honey.
really cost? And I bought one for $450.
Oh,
That's
it's
what
worth it.
Shane, my husband got me one Christmas, it was like $400.
Yeah.
And it
Big
is
giant
great.
inflatable.
It's huge, and I love it, but I've used it once.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, mosquitoes. You have
All right.
honestly needed.
We could be like a drive-in and have 2
Yeah,
screens.
that's right.
Oh, yeah, twin drive-in.
The parents watch Bridesmaids, right?
Kids movies
Yeah,
on one
parents
side.
kids and, oh, I like that.
So that's the first one. The second one is going to be a Sunday this year, Sunday, July 21st. And the reason we chose July 21st is because it's National Ice Cream Day. So
There
we're
you
trying to work on giving away
go.
ice cream.
There you
We're
go.
working on trying to see if I can get a sponsor, but if not, we'll just buy it and give it away, you know, to time
Any new ice cream stores in town?
Yeah, well, I haven't talked, I've
A few.
I reached out to Friendlies because they've supported a lot of our events in the past, and
Sure.
I'm waiting to see if they respond first before I go to Hayward's, but
Yeah.
or to Axel's or to
Yeah.
King Cone or any of them. But we started with Friendlies because, like I said, they've done a lot of our events before. So
I mean, Hayward's is brand new in town, and I'm sure they would really love to
Yep.
become a part of our community and join into something like this, and maybe help sponsor it.
yeah.
In case you're listening.
I'm working on it. But that's kind of the thought process for us there. And that one will start at 8:15. We're showing Mary Poppins Returns.
That's great, that's great.
And then the last one is the joint event with the police department for their National Night Out, which is Tuesday, August 6th. In which we're going to be showing Incredibles 2.
Nice.
The National Night Out event typically starts at 6:30, and they have a whole bunch of games and crafts and food and face painting and that kind of thing. The National Night Out event is going to be at the Legion on their
In the
fields
back
this
field,
year.
yeah, nice.
The other 2 movies will be here at Abbey Griffin, but the National Night Out event has gotten kind of big for Abbey Griffin Park, so we were a little crowded last year.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And then
Interesting.
obviously the movie will start at around 8 o'clock after
Yeah.
kind of the other activities end. So those are our
Awesome.
3 kind of movies for the
Wonderful.
summer.
Perfect. Got a whole system there.
Should be good. And
Excellent, Matt. Thank you. That's
moving
awesome.
on to camp. Camp is going phenomenally. Continues to grow. Our total registrations for all of last summer was 932 session registrations. As of yesterday morning, we were at 907.
That's,
So we're
and it's
25
only May
off of all of
15th.
our total for last year, and it's not even June. So we're doing pretty good.
That's great. That's
Natticook Day Camp is currently 91% full, with sessions 5 and 9 sold out with a waiting list. And there's a few weeks that only have 2, 3, 4 spaces left in them before those sell out. Our Trek Teen Camp is 95% full, and
That's
sessions
wonderful.
1, 5, 6, and 7 are full. So we only have room in 2, 3, and 4.
Wow.
And so we're looking good.
Yeah.
Hiring continues to be our struggle. We're pretty good on counselors at this point, but it's the specialty positions still.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's
Sorry. Probably me.
swim instructors, which obviously they have to have that water safety instructor certification, a nature instructor, and an archery instructor. So it's all kind of certification based. Particularly with the swim instructors, we're even, if somebody goes out, like you got somebody that's a swim team member or somebody that's really good at swimming, if they go take the certification class and work for us for the summer, we'll actually pay for half the certification at the end of the summer.
Oh,
Great offer.
that's a good thing
We
to
have reached
know.
out to all the area swim teams, and we've had a few people that have expressed interest, but so far no applications. So I'm getting a little nervous about that, but it's onward and upward. And then lastly, I mentioned at the last meeting
The
that obviously
waterfront.
the funding for the waterfront improvement project at Wasserman was approved. We are starting to work on all the permits, all the shoreline and wetlands and permits and whatnot, which will take several months to get through. The hope, if all goes well, is they'll start construction of that in the fall. If worst comes to worst, it'll be next spring, but then, realistically be ready for 2020, summer 2020.
Because that includes tree removals, drainage, what do you call it?
Mucking the lake.
Mucking the
it's,
lake, dredging,
solving a lot
filling.
of erosion issues.
Oh my gosh,
so
yeah.
so
If you
there's-
haven't been over there, it's not fun.
But,
It needs
but
a
not
little
the
help.
docks yet. We're gonna
Not the,
they're
dogs, the
not the
dogs
dogs.
are going to be another project
Another
for
project.
another day. I think it's in the capital improvement plan for 2 years from
Yeah,
now.
I think
Although
so.
one of the things I want to look, our current docks are 27 years old.
Wow.
And we fix them 3, 4, 5 times every summer.
Right.
Sections, pieces break off, whatnot. And so we're just kind of continuously repairing them. To replace all 3 sections of the dock is about $42,000.
Can you imagine
So
that?
we're looking at whether we can reconfigure. Maybe it's instead of an H, it's an L, or cross. Or I'm not sure yet.
There
but
must be
which
other
would,
ways.
if I make it a little smaller, or a different design, it'll cut down on the cost because it's based on how many sections of connected dock are together. So if I can cut some of that, then it'll have a better chance of getting approved in the future. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do we have a plan posted on your website? I haven't checked of how the beach is going to look or hopefully look after the
Not as
improvement?
of yet. We will.
Work
That's
on
part of what we have to. I have the town engineer
Oh,
has
that's
to kind
part
of
of
draw
it.
her up
Right,
for
gotcha.
me, which we need for all the
The
permits.
plans? Yeah, sure.
And then once we kind of get going on that, then we can post all of that information.
Okay.
Awesome.
And,
Perfect.
we've kind of mentioned it in comments in Facebook and stuff,
Right.
but we haven't actually posted plans or.
Okay, I didn't,
but
not
we will
yet.
eventually.
Gotcha.
Perfect, thank
And
you.
that's all I got.
Nice job.
Oh, you got it. Good job, Matt. Good grief. Take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Maureen, your turn to breathe.
Hi. Well, last week we had a bus go to Foxwood,
Oh,
and I
boy.
think everybody on the bus left their lunch money there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was disappointed, but they were not giving us money back. It was awful. We had sign-ups for August 15th for Interlakes Summer Theater. We're going to eat at the Bob House, and it's Saturday Night Fever. That started, they had sign-ups Monday. We'll have a memorial service next week for the members that have passed, Monday the 26th, and there's no meeting on Memorial Day. And we have a lot of things coming up to sign up for, but I have to wait, every month and give you a little interest. Okay, that's it. Any questions?
No,
No, that sounds
no.
awesome.
Thank you for doing all this, though. You were kind of quiet. That's good. No, I just, oh, no, I don't want to know about the Foxwoods. Thank you, Maureen. Okay, Mr. Greenier, anything else that you want to add?
We have a
please?
few things going on. Softball, baseball, and lacrosse are in session. As some of you may have known, we had a parade for baseball a couple weekends ago, which worked out pretty good, I thought. It was a little different having it on Saturday morning compared to the Friday night that we've done for many years, but I thought it worked out fine, and a great day of baseball was had by those that played. One nice touch that I think Mrs. Barnes might be interested in is that the varsity baseball team came down and stayed on the field and marched in the parade with the Little Leaguers as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a great
Aw,
touch.
that is a
I
nice
think
touch.
it not only meant a lot to the little guys, but to the high school players as well. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Many of them had begun their baseball careers at the very same field, so that was neat. Registration is open for our football and cheer program. We have a 50th anniversary fundraiser coming up this Saturday at Anheuser-Busch, which is going to go towards improving the interior of the MYA building.
Okay.
So this Saturday, Anheuser-Busch, more details are on our website.
Okay.
We have executive board elections on Thursday, June 13th at our next meeting, and we have several positions available. And as I mentioned earlier, we have started a field needs subcommittee to start digging a little bit deeper, thinking
Okay.
long-term.
Sure.
And I want to say thank you to Elbit Systems and Gatang Corporation, because without them, They're providing some baseball and all of our soccer fields right now, so we're very fortunate that
Absolutely.
we have them making our community better.
Right. Thank you for mentioning that. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, hi. How are you, Abby?
Good. The high school has a concert next Thursday, which I believe is the 23rd. The chorus band and jazz band will be performing, so that's coming up.
Nice.
Also, in a couple weeks is finals, so everyone is really excited for those. We're going to have a different system for organizing them this year, so we're going to see how that goes. Currently, there are also AP tests going on, so I get to see all my classmates suffering from those. I know I'll be doing that next year, and yeah, so.
And do you know when graduation is? Is it?
Oh,
It's the 8th
June
at 10
8th,
o'clock.
I think.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'll be there
Really?
every year. Haven't missed one yet.
So next month, we will welcome Lon when he comes in. He is the new town council member. And then Shannon, thank you for making the effort.
Absolutely. So sorry I was late. As I mentioned in my, I was at my NHSBA board meeting. I didn't have to run it anymore because I'm the past president. So
Good job.
I called in and took it from the parking lot.
And just so you know, I was 10 minutes early. It's highly overrated.
It
being
really
early.
is. Yeah, no, I don't do it.
You have to wait.
Have I done it yet? And every time I've ever been on this committee? No. So the from our last meeting, I know I asked Peter about the cameras that we discussed at our joint meeting at the skate park, and from that meeting, from that request at that meeting, the assistant town manager / finance director Paul McCallie and our business administrator Matt Chevanel got together, and I believe Matt, you were also at that meeting, weren't you? Or was it not? But there was definitely a consultant for camera. A camera providing consultant. So those are being procured and will be put in place. So we'll actually have monitoring at the skate park. I'm sorry? At the skate park, yes.
Wow.
So we did cover graduation, so that's good. And finals are the week after that for the underclassmen. So, so you have fun with that. My kids will too. So I'll have fun watching. And other than that, this is actually, this is our last year with our superintendent, as you're probably aware. So we are wrapping up her tenure with us, and it will be Mark McLaughlin starting July 1st. Oh, wow. So, but with that, we are preparing to, send her off with a pop. Yes, absolutely. So.
And it is a big year of fun things that are happening. It's the 50th year of the Reeds and Thorntons Ferry
yep.
School. We're having a celebration on June 1st at Reeds Ferry.
I think it's the 6th at Thorntons, correct?
Correct. So Saturday, June 1st at Reeds from 2 to 6 for alumni. And
I was thinking about what a day that must have been, or a year, when MYA began in those two schools as well.
Yeah,
It was a good
a
year in
lot
environment.
happening, a lot happening. And Thorntons is an afternoon, like a block party they're having at the school. So there's a couple of different ways to approach that. Any comments from the public? Not seeing any public. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Any comments from the rest of you? Next month will be elections of officers, and if anybody else would like a chance to be chair, co-chair, secretary, etc., etc. My term is up. Apparently my term is up this year. I think we thought there's at least 2 of us are up, but we're gonna, and maybe the 3 of us, so I'm gonna stay with it. I would like to stay with it, see this. So that's coming next month. But speaking of food, maybe we should have food at these meetings, sometimes. Well said. Okay.
Oprah says no.
Oh, my phone says no. My phone says no. God.
We can have a meeting over a game of pickleball, right?
There you go.
Rick and I can lead it.
There you go.
I'm holding the camera.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
how many points are pickles? Right.
So for those of you that don't know, we don't usually have a meeting in July, so we have a meeting next month on June 19th, Wednesday, and then again in August. A break in July, so.
Right.
Any other comments? Yes, dear.
Three last thoughts. One is, if for anybody that's maybe interested, next Saturday, the 25th, I'm leading a bus trip to New York City for the day. We got about 10 seats left on the bus if anybody wants to join us.
Wow.
It's a long day, but it's a good day.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
June 19th, which is our next meeting, is also the first concert of the summer.
Well, there you
I'll
go.
be running back and forth between the two, but
Right.
come early and go to the concert, which starts at 6. And then August 21st is the last concert of the summer, so same thing. You know, come early.
Perfect.
See some
Toe
music before
Jam,
you-
puppet band, I love it.
Great job.
Thank you. Do we want to make a dinner meeting at all? Some years we used to meet at camp and do stuff, or,
Oh, yeah, that was fun, we've done that with previous.
yeah, we can also, we had pizza one year up here.
We'd have to do it here because I gotta be at the concert.
Oh, I know that, but didn't we meet out here one, last
Yeah,
year?
that's right, we did.
We met at the picnic table.
Yep.
Is anybody?
Megan. Megan was,
Meg, that's
Megan leaving
right.
at the.
Yeah,
August
right,
last
that's
year.
right, Tracy.
You just wanna have this because I brought cheesecake.
That
Well,
was
yeah.
really good cheesecake.
Yeah. Well, we can do that, because we have to feed Matt. We don't want to lose, no, we don't want to lose you, that's all I'm saying. Well, it's something to think about. I may spur that on in an email later.
I do get fed at camp every day when camp's in session, so.
Well, that's good to know.
Good
Well, it has a good program.
Exactly.
Just means he eats 2 months out of the year, that's it.
Exactly.
Right.
All
Excellent.
right, well, do I have the motion by Maureen, seconded by Tracy? Or you, all those, da-da, 45 minutes. Thank you, everybody.
Good job.
Thank you.
But you're a wonderful group. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Oh, we're just wonderful.